Live from downtown Detroit, Local 4 News at 11 starts now.
We are now just over an hour away from the end of 2024. Epic New Year's Eve celebrations are taking place all over the country and the world.
What a year it has been. Fireworks lighting up the night skies at many celebrations across Europe. People have already welcomed the new year in places like France, Poland, and England. And did you know it takes 26 hours for the new year to be welcomed across 39 different time zones? Well, here in the United States, hundreds of thousands are packing into the crossroad of America. Look at all these people. The celebration is in full swing right now in Times Square, despite the rain. And get this, no one was allowed to have umbrellas at the ball drop due to security concerns. So it was a wet one for all those folks. Thanks so much for joining us tonight at 11. I'm Ty Steele.
I'm Kimberly Gill. Happy New Year, everybody. And however you're choosing to celebrate tonight, we hope it's fun and indoors.
That's right, because wet weather has been hovering over Metro Detroit all day long. Kim Adams is tracking it all for us on almost the first day of 2025. Hey, Kim.
Almost, and I think we are going to officially have the changeover to all snow by the time midnight rolls around. Maybe a lingering sprinkle on the east side, but right now it looks like it is mostly snow. It's fairly light, and the ground is still relatively warm. But we'll zoom in here now, and just within the last 15 minutes, we've gone from rain to kind of a mix, and now it looks like that changeover to light snow in Detroit, Hamtramck, Dearborn, Melvindale, out to Inkster, and then it gets a little heavier around Northville, Novi, Green Oak. So any totals that we get will likely be more on the west side than on the east side. But what we're really keeping a close eye on tonight, especially for those of you that are traveling, the road temperatures have dropped below freezing. So any roadway that has not been treated will definitely be slippery tonight. So the roads may look wet to you because we've had a lot of rain, but those roads could in fact become icy here within the next few hours. So your official New Year's Eve forecast calls for scattered snow showers as those temps drop below freezing. Then a big Arctic blast to start 2025. We'll talk about that in just a few minutes.
Hey, Kim, sounds good. Thank you. And as the clock ticks down to midnight, several new state laws are getting ready to be put into effect. Many of the bills signed into law by Michigan Governor Gretchen Whitmer this year are scheduled to take effect in 2025.
Arguably the most notable are the new minimum wage laws. Michigan's minimum wage will go up twice in 2025. The first one will come January 1st, when wages will increase from $10.33 to $10.56 per hour. Then in February, wages will increase again, this time to $12.48. Also in February, tipped workers will be paid 48% of the minimum hourly wage. That percentage will increase every year over the next 5 years as the tip credit is eventually phased out completely.
And Michigan's reinstated Earned Sick Time Act will also go into effect in 2025. The law requires employers to grant employees 1 hour of paid sick time for every 30 hours worked each week. Employees can use those hours for any reason related to physical or mental health for themselves or a family member.
Something else changing in 2025 involves schools. All high school coaches in Michigan will now be required to have a valid certification for CPR and the use of AEDs. This legislation will also require schools to have a plan in place in case students have a cardiac issue.
And as we say goodbye to 2024, we're looking back at some of the year's biggest stories over on clickondetroit.com right now. On the home page, you can find this article written by digital producer Dane Kelly. Take a trip down memory lane as you read stories about sports, spiders, the solar eclipse, and more. And remember, there's absolutely no reason to drive drunk this holiday. So in addition to the traditional rideshare services, AAA is offering its tow-to-go service. AAA says when someone calls tow-to-go, a tow truck will come and transport the driver and their vehicle within 10 miles. The program runs now through January 2nd. The phone number to call is right there on your screen. It's 855-2TOW-2GO.
In Macomb County, the Election Commission has given the green light now for a petition to recall Warren Mayor Lori Stone. And this approval means supporters can now begin collecting signatures for this. The recall petition claims that Mayor Stone failed to sign a land bank agreement approved by the City Council last August and did not comply with a 3-day deadline set by the Council in November. To trigger a recall, state law requires signatures from 25% of the voters in the last election. So with more than 22,000 votes cast when Stone was elected, just over 5,500 signatures are needed to move forward. And now we go to a tragic and almost unbelievable update for an Oakland County family. They're dealing with 2 unexpected deaths in 1 week. A fisherman died after surviving an accident on the ice. And this happened just days after his wife was killed in a crash as she went to pick up his vehicle at the accident scene while he was still in the hospital. The crash happened Friday afternoon near Rochester Road and Beach Drive. A 19-year-old driver crossed the center line, hitting the Jeep that she was in. She was on her way to pick up her husband's car after his ice accident on Lake George. Local 4 covered that story the night of the accident. A neighbor with a kayak helped rescue crews pull that man and his grandson out of the water. Both went to the hospital that night, but the grandfather was in critical condition and died days later. The 15-year-old grandson was released from the hospital the day of the accident, but he has lost both of his grandparents.
A Bay City man faces several charges after being accused of grooming and repeatedly assaulting a 13-year-old girl. Police say Brian McCarrick used Snapchat to connect with the girl from Grand Blanc Township over a month ago. Investigators say he provided her with several phones to communicate and even sneaked into the girl's room while her parents were home. He was arrested after he left behind a phone in the room, which police used to track him to his home in Bay City. He now faces 11 charges, including 9 counts of criminal sexual conduct.
This is somebody who has a family of his own. McCarrick had no criminal history. He had traffic tickets. They're experts at being predators. Nothing's going to stop him from coming to Oakland County, Wayne County, Washtenaw County, Bay County again, Midland County. Predators have no boundaries.
The victim's mother tells Local 4 she never suspected anything was wrong until her behavior started changing. Investigators believe there may be more victims, possibly in other cities and counties.
Now we go to a scary situation that happened in Warren on Friday night. Police say a man crashed his car into a 7-Eleven store and then began threatening to kill customers and employees.
Victor Williams spoke to police who say the situation could have ended so much worse.
Yeah, well, we've been looking at that body cam footage all day, and as you guys still know, it is a shock to see. The people that we showed it to in the area, well, they're just as surprised.
Oh, drop it! Drop it! Drop it! Drop the knife! It's the first time I see that, like in Warren.
Howie Azakari couldn't believe what we were showing him. Body cam footage of an intense situation playing out at this Warren 7-Eleven, resulting in the tasing and arrest of 46-year-old Brian Steele.
And you know, why I opened my business here, because this area is safe and good.
In just a few weeks, Howie will be opening his new restaurant, Red Apple Deli, immediately next door to the 7-Eleven. Says he's glad he wasn't around when Steele allegedly started threatening his own girlfriend, customers, and employees of the store. Warren Police Lieutenant John Gajewski says Steele was armed with these 2 knives when he started cutting himself and making threats towards his girlfriend and anyone else nearby. To make matters worse, prior to that, he allegedly drove his truck right into the front of the store.
He's a career criminal. He has a violent and dangerous criminal history. He's got previous convictions for home invasion, sex offenses, larceny, and was on parole at the time of the incident.
After being taken into custody, Steele is now being charged with assault with the intent to rob while armed, 2 counts of assault with a dangerous weapon, and malicious destruction of a building.
It's a nightmare scenario for any employee, any customer.
Now, we know that this man was given medical treatment before he was arrested. He was given a bond in the amount of $250,000. Victor Williams, Local 4.